In today's video for Space Marine 2, we're going to be diving into another class build, and this time I'm going to be going over the tactical class. In my opinion, probably the most versatile class in the game and an absolute monster in the right playstyles. This video will allow you to get the very most from it, have a lot of fun taking on any challenges within the game all the way up to Ruthless. I'll be showing you an ideal build setup for taking on your enemies whilst dishing out a lot of damage to both single and multi-targets as well. The great thing about the tactical class, it comes with the Aspect scan. It allows you to get a lot of additional damage on those big tougher enemies, as well as it having free armour and, like I said earlier, being very versatile with its kit. Jumping over to the first weapon, and for our primary we're going to be using the Galuthamore Crusade bolt rifle, and this one's going to be with the grenade launcher attachment. For the perk tree, we're going to be bopping mainly down the bottom in order to grab ourselves a whole bunch of mag size, a little bit of extra ammo and a little bit of extra damage. First perk we're going to be grabbing is going to be the extended magazine, giving us 15% extra magazine, and then we're going to jump across and grab ourselves magazine restoration. When your health drops below 30%, it's going to restore a full magazine of your weapon. This one's really nice, but it does however have a cooldown of 30 seconds. Over from here, and perpetual precision means that we're going to get a maximum spread decrease of 10%, and then up from here, grab yourself a bit faster reload, because that can always help in those tough instances when you do need to reload, although we don't need to all that much with this build. All the way across the bottom row, and we're going to pick up this one, Able Precision. After using a class ability, now your maximum spread is going to decrease by 25% for 5 seconds. Great Might is going to give us a nice bit of 10% extra damage against terminus enemies. And then keeping on the bottom row, we're going to have increased capacity, giving us an ammo reserve of 20% extra. Cleaving Fire means we're going to have a little bit of block penetration going on, as 25% of your damage is going to go straight through any of those blocking enemies, which can help in a pinch. And then Rampage, after beating 10 enemies in rapid succession, you're going to deal 25% extra damage. Over once more, an extended magazine gives us a massive 15% extra mag size once more, and then Headhunter, 10% extra damage for when you do want to be pulling off those headshots. In my opinion, this is one of the very best weapons in the game, absolutely amazing for clearing all of the smaller enemies, as well as being able to take down the Majoris and some of the tougher enemies in 2 or 3 grenades as well. Later on, for our perk tree, you'll be able to make sure you're kind of keeping these great grenades up full time, really helping you to take out enemies, have a lot of fun, do a lot of damage, and take out a lot of enemies in the process. Over to our secondary, and we're going to be using the Aphelion Liberation Alpha. This is going to be your bolt pistol. This one has a little bit more accuracy to it, so if you want to be firing a little bit less rapid, then this can be great to pick off smaller enemies at distance. Again, pretty much sticking to the bottom row, you're going to pick up 10% extra damage at the start for the terminus enemies, and then after a perfectly timed dodge, you can deal 25% extra damage for 5 seconds, so make sure to pull off those dodges whenever you can, as it's definitely going to be worth it. Iron Grip means after a gun strike, your recoil is going to be reduced by 35% for 5 seconds, and then over once more, Divine Might is going to give yourself a damage increase by 10% once more. Extended Magazine, this is going to give you 15% extra to your mag, and Rapid Health, when your health is below 30%, taking out enemies in rapid succession is going to restore your health by 5%, again with a cooldown of 30 seconds. Once more, Extended Magazine, 15% extra to your maximum mag size, and then finally, the last node on the tree, we're going to go all the way across and pick up Divine Might once more, giving us another 10% damage increase. Lastly, going over to our melee weapon, and we're going to be using the Chainsword. Obviously it is the only one we can use, and my preference is definitely going to be the Achillean Dedication. This one makes life a whole bunch easier, but if you want a bit more damage, then you may want to pick Colar's Teeth. It's completely down to your playstyle and how good you are at actually parrying. Colar's Teeth, if you're amazing at it, if you want a little bit more leeway, then go with the one I've picked, which is going to be the Achilles Dedication. This one's going to help you to clear a bit of an area whenever you need to, or if you ever have a bit of downtime with your grenades. And with the perk tree setup, as you can see, it's slightly different to the others because we've gone mainly that top path. First one we're going to be picking up is going to be Armoured Strength. This is going to give you 10% extra damage whenever you have full armour on your actual character. Jumping over from here, Crushing Steel, enemies hit by Stomp deal 30% less damage for 4 seconds, and it's got a cooldown of 10 seconds. This one's actually really nice whenever you're in the thick of things, so try to put those combos in, get a Stomp out whenever you can. Perpetual Strength, picking up 2 of these means you're going to get 10% extra increase to your melee damage. And then over on that top row, we're going to have Reverberating Impact, which is going to mean your Stomp area effect radius is going to be increased by 50%. Grabbing both of these nodes gives you really nice extra damage to both Tyranids and of course those Chaos, perfect for when you're taking on all scenarios. And then Hard Target, while performing a light combo, you're going to take 15% less range damage. Very last one we're going to be picking up is going to be Trampoline Stride. After performing the stomp, you can now press the button once more in order to provide another extra additional stomp. Lastly, going over to the perk tree of the actual tactical class, and of course the main one we're going to be looking at first is going to be your ability, the Auspex Scan. This is one of the very best abilities in the game, as it means you're going to make targets more vulnerable, you'll be able to do an additional bit of damage to them, really helping yourself and the team out. And as standard with this class, any ranged weapon that you have holstered automatically reloads after 10 seconds. The first perk we're going to be going with is going to be Balanced Distribution. Your primary weapons deal 10% extra damage, but your secondary unfortunately does go down to 10% less damage. Relentless Pursuit. After a gun strike, your range damage is going to be increased by 25% for 5 seconds, so try to throw that into the mix. Now you've got gun strikes boosting your damage, you've got perfect dodges, and later on we're going to be putting something else in that's going to help you as well. Emperor's Vengeance is definitely one of the very best perks in the game. Whenever you take out a Majorus or higher level enemy, it's going to restore your primary weapons ammo. This is going to be a complete restore of one magazine. It does have a cooldown of 30 seconds, but honestly with this you can pretty much make sure you've got full ammo, full grenades at almost all times. Apologies if I've missed it somewhere in the setup, but for the moment I'm not sure if it's a bug or, like I said, if I've actually missed it, but this perk is amazing for replenishing your primary ammo. You'll almost never need to worry about that. However, I did find with the grenades, it would often, even though I take them down every 30 seconds, didn't seem to proc the refill. Instead, what you're going to have to do, make sure you go into your execute, so get them into that red phase, then take them down with a finisher, and I found I was able to keep up my grenades this way, and keep them completely topped up pretty much all the way through all of the missions. Over to the team perk, and for this one, all squad members restore 30% more contested health. This one can be an absolute lifesaver and is well worth having on and can really help in those tricky situations. Priority targeting means you're now going to have additional seconds for your scan, absolutely perfect for those tough enemies and those bosses. And one of my favourite ones in the entire game, Battle Focus. Do not underestimate this, this is just absolutely amazing for all of your missions. Because a perfectly timed parry marks the enemy with your Auspex Scan, allowing you to take them down very easily. You're going to have this up constantly, you're going to go through the missions every time you do your parry, which can pull off really nicely if you use that fencing chainsword, allowing you to follow up with either a grenade or just take them out with some swings of your sword or whatever you want to take it down with. Of course, if you didn't want this, you can get some extra damage on your actual Auspex Scan with this bottom perk, but personally I prefer top one overall by a mile. Expert timing, enemies that are marked by your Auspex Scan now take 100% additional damage. This is an almost must pick up. It does knock the time down a little bit, but ultimately we were able to put it up earlier, so it doesn't really affect it too much. And finally, marked for death. A headshot will instantly take out a Majorus or Extremist level enemy after it's been marked by your Auspex Scan, so you could take out some of the toughest enemies in the game very easily without even really needing to try. Ultimately, I've been playing this class for a while now, got it to 25, having a lot of fun with it. It's definitely the best and most robust class. Access to a lot of weapons, access to a lot of really great perks, and overall, it's just a really nice class to play, as it's really good at melee, dealing that area damage as well as single focus. For that reason, I'm going to give it an S rank, and I believe it's one of the most powerful classes currently in the game. There'll be a lot more content away from me. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. As always, Ruthless Gaming, take care. I'll see you on the next day.